Hi, it is so good to see you. Happy Wednesday. I'm really, I'm always happy to be with you, but I'm especially happy to be with you this Wednesday because this is our very first mini workshop of 2025. So, usually we do these mini workshops once a month. Sometimes it gets spaced out a little bit more than that, but these mini workshops are a little bit different than our normal Wednesday session. So, as you know, normally we meet here every single Wednesday at 1 o'clock. We share all of the tips and tricks. We usually have somebody join us for coffee, but also, the chat normally has some really great tips and tricks from Jeff and Usama and Jen and Elaine. They have so many good things that we should know and resources that they want to share with us, which is just amazing. And I feel so blessed to have so many smart, wonderful people with us today, especially Jen, because we haven't seen Jen in a while. She's been super busy. So big shout out. But these sessions are a little bit different because instead of having our normal coffee guests where we get to kind of like pick their brain and, get a lot of goodness from them, this mini workshop, we get to dive a little bit deeper into ourselves, which is always sort of a fun, different thing. And specifically, diving deep into LinkedIn profiles. I feel like whenever we do workshop sessions on LinkedIn profiles or do posts on LinkedIn about LinkedIn profiles, I inevitably get a ton of either comments or messages from people being like, I did that thing you told me to do, or I saw that Kelly did a profile and I'm wondering if I should do it too, or I saw that somebody else business or at my office place like added this new feature. Should I add this new feature? And I thought, so many of us have the same questions. We think that we're snowflakes, but alas, we are not. And normally when one person has a question, there is sneakily other people with that exact same question. So what I thought we could do today was kind of pool all of our learning together, pool all of our resources together, and dive into these LinkedIn profiles one by one and kind of get to nitty gritty. So as you may or may not have seen, earlier this week, I did, promoting that we were going to do this today. And I said, does anyone have a profile that they want to go over live together? And I was a little nervous because it's kind of like inviting people to your birthday party. And then you're like, are people going to come to my birthday party? Like, what if nobody shows up and I have people? So I have two confessions for you. One, I'm going to be brave, which is very shortly. Shelby and I are going to put a screen up here where you can enter your profile to be considered, and we will go through it together and we can go over any specific questions you have. So that's confession number one. Gonna face my fears, going to, say into the void, please this. And then if nobody answers and it's crickets, I will have to, live with that when I go to sleep tonight. The second confession I have is we had a very brave soul who's with us today, Joseph. And I'm obsessed with Joseph right now because he did something I always really admire and that I always try to do in myself, which is he raised his hand to go first. He sent me a message and was like, I don't even want to wait and get on live. Here is the link to my profile. Let's go over it together. So, and Joseph is here with us today, thank goodness, so that we can go through his profile, through his first. So thank you, Joseph, for raising your hand and going first. I always find like the person that goes first is like kind of the hardest one. It's like when you say, do you have any questions? And there's that like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and like nobody asks any questions. And then there's like that one person in the back. But then once that person asks a question, then like it kind of like gets the ball rolling and then everybody asks a question. So that's what I'm really hoping for here. I'm hoping that Joseph was the first one. He got to raise his hand and that he is going to inspire some other people who are joining us today to be like, I will raise my hand and I will, throw my LinkedIn profile into the mix as well. So, okay, let's kick it off. And also, if you're joining us live, as you know, this is where the party's at. This is where we get to do all the fun stuff. But if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast channel, whether that is Spotify or Apple or Overcast or anywhere else that you get podcasts, this episode might be a little tricky for you because we are talking about things that we see on screen. I am going to try my very, very hardest to remember to say out loud what I am seeing on the screen. So if you're following along, you can kind of visualize it. But unfortunately, this might be one of those episodes that I hate that. I hate when podcasters are like, if you're watching on video, it's like annoying. I'm not. I'm washing the dishes. I'm walking the dog. I'm folding laundry. Like I can't look at the video. But alas, when we are reviewing LinkedIn profiles, you kind of need to see what's on the profile. But I will do my best to tell you out loud what I am seeing on. So hopefully Amanda and Mike and Taba can help me kind of remember to do that. But okay, without further ado, as Shelby is going to put an image on the screen right now, it's a handy dandy tool. And what you can do is you can use that tool, and we'll put a link in the chat of that, where you can throw your hat in the ring to have us go through your LinkedIn profiles. If you have any sort of general questions about LinkedIn profile, no worries. You can ask those in the chat. I know I will try to answer them, as well as everybody in the chat can try to answer them as well. So I know there might be a couple people joining that are like, Kim, I don't want to put my profile in the mix, but I do have this one question about headlines, or I do have this one question about a LinkedIn banner. So don't feel like, oh my God, if I don't share my profile, I can't ask my question. I would love for you to share your profile, but if you don't want to, that's okay. And you can just ask your question in the chat. So wanted to clear that up. So, oh my gosh, yay for people adding Mike and Mark and Julie and Amanda and Jen and Daniel, yay, for adding yours to the mix, because as we know, that's just always more fun when we have more people's stuff added to the mix. So again, hopefully the instructions are pretty clear, but you can use this QR code, or you can join at this ahaslides.com/18M1. I think that's a letter I. I'm pretty sure it's a capital I. But again, we'll put the link in the chat. And Usama, Shelby can get you that link. But again, that way you can throw your hat in the ring. But again, no worries, because we all know, thanks to Joseph, MVP Joseph today, we're going to do Joseph's first. So I am just going to run through first reactions of Joseph's profile. Joseph, if you have any specific questions that I don't get to, obviously make sure to add them to the chat. But let's dig in to Joseph's profile. Again, if you're watching live, you will see Joseph's profile on the screen. If you are not joining live, alas, I am so sorry. I will try to describe what's going on as best I can. So here is Joseph's profile. It looks fully complete, which is step number one. We don't see any blank spaces, which is awesome. Way to go, Joseph. But a few things right off the bat that I just see as opportunity zones for you. So the first one being is your LinkedIn banner. So for anybody that has heard me talk about your LinkedIn banner, I'm sort of obsessed with it because it is the largest visual real estate that you control on LinkedIn. Largest visual real estate that you control on LinkedIn. So that is something that is totally within your control. So Joseph here has a big black background with his name and then a description underneath of who he is and what he does. So cybersecurity expert witness, advisor, and board member. And there is also a picture of him. The opportunity I see with this is You already called out, which I think is amazing, kind of about who you are and what you do, which is an expert witness, an advisor, and a board member. Awesome. Love that. The fact that your name is right here, I actually don't think we need that. That is just extra real estate space that we can free up for other interesting things. Same thing about your profile picture. Since we already have your profile picture in the sort of circle profile area on LinkedIn, you don't necessarily need it twice, once in the banner and once in the LinkedIn profile. So I think we can free up that space as well. What I think would be really interesting to do here, Joseph, is in addition to calling out that you are an expert witness and that you are an advisor and a board member, I'll give you two ideas that I think could be interesting here. The first is that you could say, you know what might be really cool is to show people that you are that expert. So if you have any pictures of you in a board meeting, or you have any pictures of yourself, advising other companies, you could do sort of a visual picture on your LinkedIn profile banner. I think that could be pretty cool. Additionally, I think what's really cool is, I know if you go further down your profile, you have some great services here. It looks like you were quoted in Newsweek, and that you've had some features on different websites, on different publications. So I also think that could be a really interesting opportunity, that you say expert, witness, advisor, board member, as seen in Newsweek, or as seen in, whatever Forbes or whatever publication that you've been a part of. I think that could be like an interesting way to show, because I always think there's a difference between telling and showing. So some people, like myself, are very visual learners, and some people are very much like an auditory learner. So sometimes think pictures in a LinkedIn banner can also be very powerful as well. So a picture of a Newsweek logo, or a picture of you in a boardroom, be really interesting as well. So that's kind of my first thought, which is amazing. I love this line. I help attorneys win cybercrime and privacy related cases, and help company boards properly oversee the management of cyber risks. I think that's really strong. It's to the point. It's quick. It's fast. I don't think you need this emoji here. If you want to keep it, you certainly can, but I don't think you necessarily have to have it. So if that was something that you were kind of questioning, I think that you don't have to do it if you don't want to. That's totally optional. And again, I'm saying this because there could be other people joining that are thinking to themselves, well, Joseph uses an emoji. Should I use an emoji? Like, what does Kim think about emojis? My thought process is, if they make you feel better, great, use them. If you don't love them, you don't need to use them. My comment is, I did see a profile once where, God love this woman. I think she used 8 emojis. Like, it was like she wrote kind of who it is and what she did, and then it was like fire emoji, strong emoji. It was like this like explosion of emojis, and I was like, wow, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I would say use your emojis sparingly, as some people love them, some people hate them, but there's that. First thought on the about section. I think, Joseph, if I was already really interested in you, or we're trying to go on a date with my best friend, I would read all of this. I would be so free. I'd be so up in your grill. It would be ridiculous. Like, I would be super busy with all this. However, if I was just like, I met you at a networking event and I'm just kind of like glancing through really quickly on your profile to like get a better vibe of you, I'm not reading this, because I am lazy. And I think I represent most people when I say that. We like to think that we're not lazy. We like to think that we're going to go to the gym. We like to think that we're going to take our vitamins every day. We like to think that we're going to eat 60 grams of protein every day. But you know what? We don't. And it really is hard to eat 60 grams of protein. But I would love to see some bullet points in this. I would love to see like all of this copy broken up. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. That's a lot of paragraphs. I would try to get this maybe down to like 2 paragraphs and maybe some bullet points, just again, to make it easy to understand, quick, easy on the eyes, something that is going to really, that is one thing where, like, in my opinion here, I feel like AI in some ways is doing us a disservice, because whether it's LinkedIn AI or just people's own personal chat GPT, they'll be like, make me a strong, brilliant, amazing about section. And AI will do that. And I'm not saying you used AI, but it'll spit out 5 paragraphs worth of content. And what I try to tell my chat GPT, and what I encourage other people to tell their chat GPT, is that, try to, as much as you can, assume that people are not going to read. It's sad, but like, assume that people are not gonna read what you put. And I always say, as much as possible, to also like assume that in AI as well. Like, tell your AI, assume that people don't read. I mean, I hate to say that, but it really is just better to let people know. Oh, I love that someone added this in here, because this is important as well. They're saying don't do emojis because it's not always accessible to folks. That is so true. Especially if you have ever used LinkedIn in a different country. Some countries don't have all the emojis that we have, speaking as we, because I live in America. So sometimes the emojis that we have in America are different than the emojis that you might see in the UK or Australia or any of these other places. Really great point that it's not always accessible. And then Jen is asking, which I think is also good to bring up, does Google or LinkedIn pull keywords from the About section? I have heard that it does. However, I have not seen that in practice. So for instance, I have tried to nerd out and kind of go in and ask, specific things that I know are in people's About sections, and necessarily come up with their About section, if that makes sense. So yes and no. They say that it does, but I haven't actually seen that in practice. But I think we should all, assume that that's what's happening. And I know that that's on LinkedIn roadmap and that's where they want to go. But you never know. So I think just treat it as if it's happening, but I don't know that's what's actually going on. So TBD on that. And we ventured down here. Services, Joseph, I think this looks really great. You filled in some really great services here. As much as possible, I would say if you can add some photos in here, that would be great. And I would also say, as much as possible, narrow maybe these down to 2 or 3 of your strongest. Not sure why this is blank. I don't know if this is blank on anybody else's, but as much as you can, try to do this. I love that you're posting a lot. This makes me happy. So it looks like you posted today, posted yesterday, posted 5 days ago. That is awesome. And again, you have all of this filled out as well, which I think is really strong. And it looks like you did a great job of putting, all the information here that LinkedIn wants and needs and is going to focus on. So I think that this looks pretty dang great, Joseph. If you have any specific questions or things that you want to dig into or share, I would love to know what those are. But hopefully, again, that kind of digs into more of a deep dive on people's profiles. So, okay, let's dig up somebody else's. Oh, we have so many wells in the mix. Hooray. Okay, let's pull somebody else's. Oh, I love this thing. Okay. Let me navigate over to, I'm going to type in, oh no, the name went away. Oh, you're so welcome, Joseph. Okay, beautiful. It's like, I can't spell the name. I don't know how to spell it. Samantha Wolchuk. Okay. Let's see if I can find the profile. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, I got it. Okay, let me share my screen. Let's pull up. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Samantha. I assume the C kind of sounds like an S, like Samantha, but it's Samantha. You can tell me if I'm saying it wrong. But I love that Jen's like, I love a good spinny wheel. Me too. I love a spinny wheel with confetti. It's my favorite. Or as Jeff saying, the LinkedIn Wheel of Fortune is correct. The Wheel of LinkedIn Fortune. Absolutely my favorite. Okay. Samantha. Number one, I want to see your beautiful face. Oh, we got to get a picture in here with you immediately, as fast as humanly possible. Same with your LinkedIn profile, your banner image. I would love, 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 these are gears. So in my head, I'm thinking like, does she do engineering or, some kind of, something with building or materials? I see that it says environmental health and safety leadership, but I'd love a little more insight on what that is. Another thing that is really key for people, and I tell this all the time, especially if you're just starting out on LinkedIn, you can see right here that there are 238 connections. The beautiful thing about LinkedIn is it doesn't count anything over 500. So whether you have 501 connections or whether you have 6,000 connections, it doesn't matter. It will just 500 with a little plus sign. So what I always tell people is, as fast as humanly possible, get to 500. Now, within reason, I don't want you getting to 500 by, connecting with strangers, but get to 500 through, maybe it's, people that you work with, maybe it's people you used to go to school with, whoever it is, get to 500 as fast as possible. So really, as much as you can, get to 500 number so that it will just show as 500 plus. This helps people know, like, wow, this person's like in the know or has a career or has been around for a while. As much as possible, really kind of get in there. Oh, I love that someone is sharing this as well. I had this problem. You need to change your LinkedIn to show your picture to people outside of your first level connections if you have a photo. This is such a good point that was just brought up, which is you might be able to see your LinkedIn profile photo and you think, well, everyone can see my LinkedIn profile photo. But alas, my friends, there's also a situation on LinkedIn where on purpose, LinkedIn will say, we're not going to show your photo to people you don't know or that don't know you. And that is under the privacy settings. So you may not realize that that's still the case. So make sure in your privacy that is turned off so that everybody can see your profile photo, no matter if you are connected to them or not. So that's a good one. I'm glad that point was brought up. Thank you. I love that you have this about section filled out. However, I think this has a lot of really great keywords probably for your industry, but somebody who's not in your industry, I have absolutely no idea what this means. So it says environmental health and safety compliance leader and project manager who motivates teams, develops positive work culture, and applies innovative training practices, catalyst delivering health and effective corporate programs. Again, I feel like as much as possible, I would love for you to just add like 1 or 2 examples of how that could be like in layman's terms. Like, give it to me like you would give it to a kindergartner. What do you do? Like the 2 or 3 sentences that you use at a party to describe it to somebody who's not in your industry, as much as possible. Figure out how to distill that. Maybe ask ChatGPT to help you explain it to a kindergartner as much as possible. But I love that you have all of these experience areas filled out. I think it's so important for people to add their experience, whether that's companies that you've worked with or past internships that you've done. I think this is important for two reasons. One, because it's just good because it makes your profile look filled out and that you've had a robust career, which in this case you have. But two, it allows me, as maybe someone who just met you or is excited to meet you, like, oh, you used to work at Specialized Technology Resources. I used to work there too. Like, I was down in Bentonville or Arkansas for 3 years. Like, we just missed each other. So that's the type of stuff that I think is important just from a connection standpoint, that it helps people connect with you in a unique way. So some people say, oh, Kim, like, I did that job 10 years ago, or I did that job 15 years ago. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Still put it down, because I still have people that come up to me, even though I worked at Condé Nast way back in 2008, which, it's a little more than 15 years ago, my friends. And so, and I still have people say, oh, I used to work at Condé too, even though obviously I have not worked at, since 2010, and it's now 2025. It's been more than 15 years, and they still say, oh, I used to work at Condé too. So it's really helpful, as much as you can, to add that in and really make it feel like, you can have that bonding experience. I love this kind of shortened version that Jeff put in. It just says, I make working environments more safe. Exactly. Like, if you said that to me at a party, I'd be like, oh, I get it. You're make sure that the hummus factory doesn't chop off somebody's finger and it ends up in my hummus. I mean, not to sound gross, but like, that's, I'm making job places safer. Boom. Got it. So as much as you can, make it easy for a kindergartner, aka me, to understand what. So again, quick overview. Hope that was cool. Shelby, let's roll the wheel. Let's get to our next person. Ding, ding, ding. David. Okay, do we know what David's last name is? Shelby, maybe you could put it in the chat or something. That way I can get David's pulled up on my phone. And by phone, I mean the computer, for when I share my screen. But you know what I mean. And again, if you have questions that are part of a LinkedIn profile, I want you to add it to the chat so that we know exactly what you want to ask and what you want to get to. Because oh, perfect, David. Thank you for this. I'm going to put this up so that I know how to spell your last name, D-O-N. See, for people that are like, is she doing this in real time? I am doing this in real time. Okay. I have David's pulled up. So let's get you on screen here. Ding, 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 ding. Boom. There you are. Perfect. Okay. Let's dig into David's profile. First of all, David, I love your profile picture. This is awesome. I would be able to find you in a coffee shop or across from a boardroom or a networking event. So I think this is perfecto. Banner, same thing I said before. I would love, love, love to see this somehow tie back to who you are and what you do. Again, it says on your about section, human resources coordinator at 7-Eleven, photographer, polyglot. I don't even know what that means. Polyglot. I think I'm saying it right. And travel enthusiast. If this picture in your profile banner is one that you took from your kind of photography business or photography side hustle or photography, thing that you like to do, I would love to see a little watermark or like shot by David in June of 2024 or something like that. So something basically to tie it back. If it is an image that you shot, something to show, oh, that you're a photographer and this is a photo that you took, that would help me kind of get more of a vibe of you, like, oh, wow, David does do beautiful prints of, lighthouses, just to kind of get a better idea of. And if this isn't a picture that you did, I would highly encourage you to switch it to a picture that you took and have it be something that shows off your great photography skills. So that is number one. If we scroll down to the About section, it says, welcome to my LinkedIn profile. Thank you for visiting. I'd love to take a minute to share a little bit about my journey. I don't think you need that. Honestly, I think you get right into the good stuff. So I would delete that whole opening, the welcome, the thank you for visiting, and I would just get straight into the good stuff, like born and raised in Texas. I call the Dallas Fort home, area home, special. Here's the things that I love doing. I have a passion for photography, video. I love to learn. I believe in the power of community, personal interests. I love how I have it sectioned off. I would add, again, I know we talked about it earlier, but whether it's emoji or whether it is some sort of kind of way to denote, like, here's a little bit about my passion for photography and video. Here's a little bit about why I love connecting and my continuous pursuit of learning. Here's a little bit about my personal interest. And here is a little bit about my professional experience. The one thing I would add, and I didn't say this on the other profiles, but I will make sure to add it as well. When you kind of are closing or wrapping up your about section, in this case, David says, thank you for taking time to learn more about me, especially since you, David, are somebody that loves connecting and believes in the power of community. I would say something along the lines of, thank you for taking time to learn more about me. I would love to learn more about you. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, or here's my email address, davidd@gmail.com or whatever it is. So really, as much as possible, leading into having people connect with you as much as possible. So I would definitely add that in, considering you love connecting with people. But this is great. I think we just get into the good stuff faster. When the best example I know, when someone tells you, like, oh, I really think that you should read this book, where the crawdads sing, or whatever the book recommendation is. And I've had people do this. I actually have my friend been asked to do this to me recently. She's like, okay, Kim, it's a great book. You're going to love it. But the first 100 pages are slow, but then it picks up. And I'm always like, 100 pages of slow, and then I have to wait for it to pick up. Like, it's kind of like, oh my God, it's like, you got to eat 20 pounds of broccoli before you get to the carrot cake. I mean, I guess, we have to do things we do, but when we can control it, I say, get to the good stuff faster, cut out as much fluff as you can and dig in. I love, David, that in this featured section, you have your photography website. That is awesome. I love that you denote, different types of photography that you do, real estate photography versus solar eclipse versus portrait. I think that is awesome. One that I think they have now on LinkedIn, David, that I would also love to see you enable, is they have a services section. I believe it shows up, if I'm not mistaken, right here above your about section, or maybe it's right below. I don't know. They're always redesigning LinkedIn, so I'm always losing place of it, but you guys correct me where it is. But they have a services section. And what I think is great about a services section is people, if they say, like, oh, wow, I was looking for a real estate photographer and I stumbled upon David, they can, boom, click on your services, and you could put in prices or examples or a way that people can request a proposal. I think that would be really powerful, and it might get you some more hits. Might be a good idea just to find another way for you to get paid. Who doesn't love that? I think that would be really beneficial. So that would be great. I love that you're active on LinkedIn, because I can see that you're posting things and posting things. I think it's great that you have bullet points here on your 7-Eleven experience and your work experience. I think that that's awesome because, as you heard me say before, sadly, people don't read. I will put myself in that. There are some times where I don't read. So having, bullet points like this, I think is really super duper helpful. And again, I love that you put all of your past experiences. Gold star to David for anybody who's like, I don't know that matters. David gets the gold star because he went all the way back to 2001. Yes, David, I love to see it. Like, people, for some reason, I think like it shows that they've been working a long time. Like, what's better than that? Exactly. You're Knox. You like have so much more knowledge than all these other people. So I am all about it. And I love that you put volunteering work in here as well, because again, you never know who is going to look at your volunteering work and say, oh my gosh, I volunteer at Lake Point Church too. Or I have a friend who volunteers at Lake Point Church. Do you know Terry, or whoever it is? So I love, love, love that you added that in there as well. I want to make sure that we get to Elizabeth's question in here. What do you recommend the banner behind our profile picture to be? I think that it should be one of like 2 or 3 things. It should either be something that talks about who you are and what you do. So in this case, if David wanted to add a little thing that says, photo by David, shot in June of 2024, able to be hired for portrait photos or something like that, kind of like a calling card. I think that would be great. I'll just show you my profile just so you can see it. In this case, I market this, the fact that we meet here every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So that's something that I talk about and want people to know about. So again, whatever that is, I think that could be it. Or I think a profile banner could show off things that you do. So if you're a public speaker, maybe it's you speaking. If you're an industry expert and you have quotes in major publications, maybe it's the major publications logos because you want to show off that you're an expert. So I think that your banner behind your profile picture should really somehow, tie into who you are and what you do so that people get a better idea. Because again, some people are visual learners. Some people are auditory or reading learners. So if someone is visual, I just want to, boom, I want to see what you do. So David, you are a gem. I hope some of those tips were helpful for you. And I really love what you've already done. So I want to get you more photography business. That would be amazing. Shelby, let's hit our LinkedIn Wheel of Fortune wheel once again to get us off to a new and magical world with somebody else's profile. This is so fun, by the way. I don't know if you guys have as much fun as me, but I love it. If you think we should do more of these, by the way, let us know now, because I think that this is... Wait, I picked David again? You have to go again. By the way, David, you need to buy a lotto card, because the fact that the confetti machine picked you twice, that means it's your lucky day. So you should get a lotto card. Okie dokie. I can't read because my glasses are just not working that well today. So let's make this a little bigger. Okay, Brenda Diaz. Let's pull up Brenda's profile. Okay, brilliant. Ta-da. Okay, Brenda, let's dig in. Woo. Okay, first and foremost, just gut reaction. When I see this on your LinkedIn profile banner, I'm like, okay, maybe she does something with LGBTQ. Maybe she's involved in like something like that, or there's hands. So maybe she's involved in like, I don't know, volunteer work or community work. So again, that's just kind of like first impressions. But it says Brenda, bilingual human resources professional. So again, pretty straightforward, HR professional. I would say, Brenda, if you specialize in anything related to HR, again, my best friend Jenna works in HR, and I know for her, she's tried to she's tried to explain to me. I do not know if this is right. This is like my kindergarten version of this, but she'll explain to me that HR is different. Like financial HR is different than like if you work at a hospital, there's like medical HR versus like an ad agency's HR. So she's told me like basically not all HRs are created equal. And there's some versions of HR that are like specialized HR. So again, I don't know if that's the case for you, but if it is, if you're like an HR expert that specializes in like one area, let's talk about that. So let's add that in here. If not, no worries, and it's more like general HR, that's fine. But yeah, as much as possible. So, okay. I think that would be super duper helpful. As we dig into this more, oh wait, I lost the chat. Okay, I got the chat back. Sometimes we use new systems and I panic when I don't know how to use them. Oh no, it's the wrong Brenda Diaz. No. Okay, wait, Shelby, I think gave me the right one. Brenda Diaz has a lot of work to do. Don't we know it? Okay. Woo. Saved it. That was a close one. Okay. Correct Brenda Diaz profile. Wow, we really saved me there. Thank you, Rachel. She's probably not looking at the screen. That is exactly right. Someone call Kim. You know, sometimes I just get so excited, I go down the rabbit hole. Okay, Brenda Diaz, here we go. You already know what I'm going to tell you, which is, wah, wah. We need a profile, a banner profile. There's so much opportunity here. I want to see more of you here. Maybe it's things you like. Maybe it has to do with work. But I would love, love, love as much as possible to see more of you here, your personality, what you do, who you are. I love this profile picture of you, with the exception of it looks like for some reason, or maybe it's just my computer. Actually, I would love for everybody in the comments to tell me as well if it's just me. So maybe like Jen and Brendan and Rachel and Usama, you can look on yours. Is her profile picture fuzzy for you too, or is it just me? I don't know, Brenda, if it's just me or not, but it looks like maybe this is like a low pixelation. And in which case I would love to see like a high resolution JPEG of you in here, just so I can see your beautiful face more clearly. That would just be really beneficial for me. But client engagement specialist at True Home Solutions. Okay, got it. This about section, what I would love for you to do is once again, explain to me like I'm an idiot what the client engagement specialist role is. Literally, I'm going to need you to 101 that. So number one, 101, what a client engagement specialist is or does. So maybe that's like help clients get what they need when they need it and have it be an easy experience. Blah, I don't know, but give it to me in simple man's terms. What are simple woman's terms? What it is that you do. So that's number one. And then number two, if you want to like add on to that, I would also say, give me a simple man's version of what True Home Solutions does. So to add on to my earlier example, I help clients get things when they need it, you know, in an easy, seamless way within 24 hours. I do this when it comes to their home security system and their home alarm. I don't know, because I actually do not know what True Home Solutions does, but if you dumb it down for me, then I will know what True Home Solutions does. So the one thing that oh my God, Eric, by the way, Eric, what a sweetie. He said, Brenda, if you want to send me your profile pic, I can upsize it for you. Happy to do that. Yes, we love helping community members. That would be amazing. So yes, thank you, Eric, for always being such a beautiful helper and helping people. We love that. So again, just this about section as much as possible. A thing that I like to keep in mind is, again, what would you say to somebody at a party? You're at your friend's birthday party. there is a fun person next to you that you have been having such an awesome chatty conversation with all night about the newest Netflix show that you both are obsessed with and you both are watching. And then they kind of naturally transition to, well, what keeps you busy Monday through Friday? What keeps you busy? What are you up to? What do you do? What do you do for work? What would you tell that person like at the party? Because you wouldn't kind of go into like this jargony explanation. What are those 3 or 4 sentences that you would tell that person? So again, I think that would be great. Another thing that I see, Brenda, that is such an opportunity for you that I would love, love, love to see you exploit as much as possible is you do a fantastic job of putting that you've spent 4 years and 5 months at True Home Solutions. And I love that you show the evaluation that, you started out as a mortgage loan processor, then you worked your way up to a loan processor, second degree, black belt. Then you worked your way up to a client engagement specialist. So I love that we can see kind of the progression of your career. I think that's great. What I would love underneath this is, again, 2 or 3 sentences or 2 or 3 bullet points about each of those positions, because I know you did something different. I know that what you did in September of 2020 isn't what you were doing in June of 2023, which isn't what you're doing now. I know that that's true. I know that you've been doing different stuff. So I would love a few sentences with each of these of what you were doing in each of these roles so that we can get a better idea. You did that on your past jobs. So, you did that at SourcePoint, you did that at Independent Trading, you did that at Disguise. But I would just love, love, love to see a little bit more about that. And then if I wanted to be really picky, which I will be for a second, you worked for 9 years at SourcePoint, which is freaking awesome. Like, you were the director of client services. Like, that is amazing, in charge of hiring and training, coordinators, onboarding people, client satisfaction, created and managed our social media presence. Like, holy moly, like, you did a lot at SourcePoint. What I would love to see is for you to enable your featured section, which is where you can show off some examples of stuff that you've done. And I would show off some of that work. Like, I don't know how you can show that, or, if there's old decks you can use or old screenshots you can use, but I would love to see it. So that would be amazing. But I hope that's helpful. Brenda, let's kick it off, Shelby. Let's try to cram in as many more of these. We're going to go super speed now because I want to be respectful of time, because I know you're busy and you have and you want to learn, but you also want to stay on track for your calls for the rest of the day. So I'm going to try to move at really rapid. I love that so much. Okay. Shelby is going to put the link in our chat because I don't want to put the wrong person up on the screen again. Because you know what? Fool me once, shame on me. But fool me twice, or no, fool me once, shame on you. And I'm going to say that about the computer screen, but fool me once, shame on me. And I'm not going to get fooled again. So I'm going to wait for Shelby to put the link in our chat so that I know where to go. You guys can't trick me again. Not going to do it. Okay. Oh, Jim, yay. I love it. Love, love, love. Oh, I want to make sure that we're getting to the questions as well. Ooh, got to stay on the questions. By the way, if you have questions, let me know so that I can really get in there. But I want to make sure we answer this question from Usama, which is, which LinkedIn headline bios are better? Kind of like your job title, which would be like founder at Content Drips, or you're benefit focused. I help X people do Y things. I have a very spicy take on this, which is, if you are using LinkedIn to get individual clients, I would say use the benefit focused thing. So for you, I would say, because I know what Content Drips does, I would say something like, I'm making this up, I help people create LinkedIn content in half the time. Because then I, as somebody who would land on your profile, would be like, oh, I want to create LinkedIn content in half the time. But like for somebody like me, like I'll use me, Kim Kalp, as an example. I don't need individual people hiring me because like companies hire me. So I wouldn't need that because it wouldn't make sense for like 90% of the people that visit my profile. So I would just put founder at Bright Ideas Only, co-founder at Bright Ideas Only. That's just my opinion. It's my 2 cents on it. So glad we got that. Any other questions? Definitely let me know. Okay, let's get into Jim's profile fast. Okay. I love this, Jim. Host of the 2-Minute Drill podcast, on-air personality, host of the All Mixed Up and Jersey Magazine, high school baseball coach. I love that you have this baseball mitt here with all of obviously like the audio, because again, it tells me, one, you like baseball, which you do because you're a high school baseball coach. And two, you obviously do something with podcasts, or else you wouldn't have a podcasting mic or any of those knobs here. So again, when we were talking about earlier, like this, Jim is the exact example of what I'm talking about, because visually I see all the things that he either likes or works on. Like, boom, like that to me is exactly what I have been saying. So I think that this is perfecto. I also want to really give a round of applause that Jim is enabling this link feature. That's something that we haven't talked about yet, but LinkedIn just announced that you can put in your own links here. So you can put things here that you want to drive people to. You can put that we can have calls. This can link to your, your Calendly, your scheduling device. In this case, it is linking to Jim's baseball workout zone, his personalized baseball instruction with hitting and fielding and pitching. So this is perfect, because if I know Jim and I'm like, oh, I either want to learn more about baseball, or I have a son or a nephew, that is an easy thing for me to click and get more information about it. This Jim has enabled what I was talking about earlier, which is that kind of open to work or services function, which is great because, as you can see, people can see exactly what he does and they can engage him as soon as possible. Again, I love, Jim, that you kind of put this in your about section into exactly that: sections, radio, baseball coaching, skills, specialties, certifications. I think that's great. Same with your featured sections, that you are showing people the amazing work that you are doing both on your podcast and with the magazine. So I think that's super duper great. And again, with your experience section, I think as much as possible, adding details around here where you can, really quickly when it comes to, let's say, varsity baseball coach. I think what would be fun here is if you put 2 or 3 times, like, I've sent 6 people to D1 schools, or I've had 5 of my students go on scholarship for baseball. I'd love to see some just kind of extra credentials, because, there's lots of people that do baseball coaching, but there's only one Jim, especially if Jim has had a lot of success with getting kids scholarships or getting them into good schools, or, working with over 200 students. Those sort of names and numbers and social proof are really, really important as much as possible. And so I think that kind of also answers a question that Anne had earlier, which she was saying kind of TLDR. So for anybody that doesn't know, the too long didn't read, looking for advice on clutter below the headers. I think as much as you can, just using those names and numbers, those qualifying sort of quick, punchy. I've trained 200 students. I've sent 10 to D1 schools. I've sent 5 on scholarship. Those are like very quick, easy nuggets of information that people can pull from your profile, which are super, super strong. So again, Jim, I think you've done an awesome job. I think there's a few little tweaks that we can add in here, that I think would be really helpful to kind of, again, just further show off what a unique and special and rock star individual that you are. Boom. Shelby, let's do one more. Let's do one more. I know I only have 6 minutes, but let's do one more. And I think we should do this again. So fun. Yay. Okay. Daniel. We are going to check out Daniel's profile, which I'm very excited about. I know Belinda had a question about, what is the URL on your profile? Linda, I can send you some follow-up, but that is a custom URL that you can put in, and it's really helpful to drive people to things that you want to drive them to. It's just super duper helpful. And you can drive them to book a meeting with you or to a website that you're interested in. I think that it would be really, really great if you can enable it, or if you do have things that you want people to check out. Okay. If someone can shoot me Daniel's link, that would be super helpful. Or Daniel, if you can drop your link in the chat, that way I make sure that I'm going to the right Daniel and not the wrong Daniel again. That would be fantastic. Okay, I'm glad that so many people are like, let's do this again, because I'm like, yes, I want to do this again too. Yay. Okay, Daniel. Or Shelby, or somebody. Shelby can't find Daniel's comment either. I love Rachel's point. Even if we don't get picked, it's a good jump start. Okay, well, I don't see Daniel, so I guess we keep going. I guess we pick a new person. Is that bad? But I don't think so. We lose. You can Wheel of Fortune. We either have your stuff or we don't. Ew. Okay. Let's see how many mics there are. Oh no, there's 2. See, I'm not going to pick. I'm going to wait for Shelby to send me a link, or I'm going to wait to see a link in the chat, because the last time I tried to pick a mic, it was the wrong mic. Okay, Mike, we're going to find ya. We're going to find ya. Ooh, I found you. And by me, I mean Shelby found you. Okay, I have yours up. Here we go, Mark. Yay. Okay, first of all, I love your profile picture. You're smiling, you're happy. I would see you in a coffee shop and know exactly who you are and be able to find you. So yay for that smiling, happy photo, because I'd be like, I can't wait to have coffee with this person. They look amazing. I assume that this is a Chicago skyline. Somebody can correct me, but I am assuming that that's what that is, considering you're based in Chicago, and in which case that would make sense. But it says that Mike is a supply chain engineer and a business analyst in the technical field. So I love your about section. I solve problems, I streamline processes, and I drive results. At Intel, I've led projects that cut down on downtime, boosted efficiency. So again, I love this. It's very much in a way that I can understand it. And, that's perfect. I love that you talk about you're passionate about business transformation and mentorship. Let's connect. Just like I talked about on that other profile, what I would love to see you do, please do it as much as you can, Mike, is when you say let's connect, give people instructions. Say, connect with me on LinkedIn, or send me an email at MikeR@intel.com, or I don't know, whatever your email address is that you want to give people. But if you really are serious about connecting, don't just say, let's connect. Like, what's that phrase? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Lead the horse to water and tell them which drink they should be drinking. So say, let's connect, and then be like, let's connect on LinkedIn. Here's the link. Or let's connect via email. Here's my email. So as much as you can. I love that you enabled this featured section. It's awesome. I can see that you work with iMentor. I can see that Purdue has written a business spotlight on you, which is cool. And I'm so glad you put that in. I love that you have this experience section filled out with bullet points. You're such a rock star, Mike. This looks amazing. And I love that you put all of your past jobs here at Payback and Northwestern Mutual, and that you played Purdue football. That's just freaking cool. So I'm glad that you put all of this down. I think it is super important. You put skills, recommendations, causes, I think are really great. I would say, I think you put somewhere here, oh yeah, mentorship. And I see this, that you did this iMentor. They have a section like experiences that's called volunteering. I see that you don't have it enabled, but I think you should, especially if you've actually done things with either iMentor, or maybe you've done mentorship with Purdue, or maybe it's through your job at Intel or something else. So I would add that volunteer section and enable that so that people can see the volunteer work that you've done as well. But I think that this looks super great. And for anybody that's into copying homework, I would highly suggest that you look at Mike's, because that is a rock star example of how you should be filling things out and what you should be doing. I just think, Mike, you did, round of applause. You did such a good job. This looks amazing. Okay. It has been exactly 60 minutes. I know time flies when we are having fun, but I also know that you are a busy bee and you have a lot to do today. I know your to-do list is bursting at the seams. So this was super fun. I have learned that you enjoy this as much as I do. So I think we will schedule another one of these again. So if you didn't get picked, or if you did get picked and you're going to make a few changes, or if you didn't get picked and you're still going to make a few changes, which I hope is the case, or you think to yourself, hey, I have a friend or a coworker or a son or a daughter or a cousin or a niece that would totally benefit from this, we're going to do this again. And you can invite whoever that person is to join us, because sharing is caring, and don't keep it all to yourself. As always, you can go to getcoffeewithkim.com. We are here every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to learn and to help each other. Sometimes it's like this, all about a LinkedIn profile. Sometimes it is about making yourself better or helping you at work in other ways. I love that people are saying that this was helpful, because it was helpful for me too. I definitely want to do this again. So I'm glad that you found this as helpful as I did. I will let you know as soon as we get another one of these scheduled. But thank you for taking the time, because as I said before, you are super duper busy and I know you have a lot going on. So thank you for taking the time. Again, please head over to getcoffeewithkim.com so that you can sign up for future sessions, because we'll send you a handy calendar invite. And what's better than that? We love that. Or if you had to leave early, or you want to share this with somebody that you know, you can always share it via LinkedIn. You can share it via YouTube, or once again, your favorite podcast network, whatever that might be, Spotify, Apple, Overcast, whatever you use, we're on all the things under Coffee with Kim. It was so wonderful to see you, Yosef and Jim and Robert and Keith and Belinda and Mike and Kelly and Jeff and Awas, and we just had so many amazing people here today. So thank you for joining and making this so much fun. I am sending so much gratitude and appreciation your way. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the weekend, my friend. I will see you again next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place, and I will see you so soon. Bye.